Hi, my name's John Wick, and I am the author and designer of games such as Legend of the Five Rings, Seventh Sea, Orc World, Houses of the Blooded, and other role-playing games that are not D&D. Mainly because I feel that D&D does the job it does, and other games have other spaces that they can explore and tell different kinds of stories. 7C, for example, is a game about what does it mean to be a hero and swashbuckling adventure and sorcery and things like that. But more than that, it's a game about difficult choices. I think role playing games offer a really great opportunity to present difficult choices to players that challenge what they think their character is and also challenge things that they bring to the character. Role playing games give you the opportunity to not just watch a hero on a screen or read about a hero in a book, but to actually not just walk in the hero's footsteps, but to make the hero's footsteps. That's why I think role playing games are a unique literary medium. You aren't watching someone else have an adventure, you are having the adventure. And yes, that's in the guise of a character, but my goal as a GM is to make you not have the reaction my character is in trouble or my character is in love or my character has to make a hard decision, but I want you to think I am in love, I am in trouble, or I have to make a hard decision. And I don't think any other literary medium does that other than role playing games. The author Umberto Eco, who wrote Foucault's Pendulum and Name of the Rose, he once said that the ultimate murder mystery would be where the reader finds out that they did it. And I don't think any other medium does that except role playing games. So, one of the reasons I'm really excited about this project is because I think that role playing games offer players a safe space to make dangerous and difficult decisions. Because there's a level of distance between you and the character, you can explore things that like in the same way that science fiction does. Science fiction can address things like racism and classism and difficult subjects like that because it happens in this other place far away. It's one of the reasons that Star Trek is so powerful. And role-playing games give players that same safe space of, well, this is somewhere else and this is happening to other people. And role-playing games give you the opportunity to explore those kinds of things. They don't have to be, hey, let's go and murder people who don't look like us so we can go through their pockets for spare change. You can discuss things like honor and duty and other heroic virtues that we apply to heroes and really ask difficult questions like, are those really virtues? What does courage mean? What does loyalty mean? What does love mean? All of these different things can be explored in a role-playing game because it's in a safe space where there's distance between you and what's going on in the story, but not a lot of distance.
Hi, my name's Nathan Collins, also known as GM Dreads. I have been dungeon mastering for about 20 years. I'd like to think that my experience and command over a game table makes me a great dungeon master. I find that there's a very fine line between getting to a table and running a game for people and people enjoying themselves and being a great game master. I frequently have players that have told me it's difficult for them to have other game masters because of the amount of attention to detail that I put into game mastering. I began game mastering, like I said, 20 years ago. In 2004, I competed in the Iron Dungeon Master Tournament. I won that tournament. That's a national game master tournament where you compete against some of the best dungeon masters in the country and see who comes out on top. You have to write an adventure within an hour and just and take that adventure and entertain six complete strangers. And with the criteria being that they have to have the best game of their life. That's the only way you get voted. Is if everybody at the table say it was the best game of their life. I not only won year two, but I also won year three, and I compete in place very frequently throughout the number of years. A lot of game mastering is being in command of something, understanding how people think, and being able to make a vision out of six people's other visions. You don't sit down at the table and write a story and people go through it. That's the difference. You have to take everybody else's story and then try to weave something that is cohesive at the end of it. And that's the skill of it. I feel like when you have a system that doesn't allow for players to need to read a 300 or 400 page book or anything to get into it, then you can sit down and say, these are just the tools. Tell me what you want this story to be. Tell me what your character is. When I have players come into my game, I want to know your background before I know anything. Sure, if I'm at a con, I'm gonna say, hey, pick one of these character sheets out, but tell me what your character is. And you'll get, well, I don't know. I just kind of, because there's a newness, like, oh my God, I didn't know I could have this much thing. And I say, you have all the creativity you can have. And then I just use the tool set to help weave and help stitch together all their stories into a wonderful, magnificent masterpiece.
All right. So we're gonna be playing 7th Sea, and do you want me to make an introduction of? You're muted, Anthony. Awesome. My name is John Wick. I'm the line editor for 7th Sea and the creator of 7th Sea, which is currently owned by Chaosium. And I am going to be running the game for my brand new friends. Well, actually, they're on this side of the screen for me. For my brand new friends, Brian and Nikki and Ray. I don't know. How do I Azucena? Is that how I say it?
I guess that's how the character is spelled.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. You got your character's name up there. Excellent. Okay. And so my friends Nikki and Ray and Brian, and we're going to be playing Save the Prince, which is in the quick start. And so if you want to see what the characters that they're playing and see the adventure, you can totally find the quick start on chaosium.com and download it for yourself. And so the premise of this adventure is that all of you are related to the recent prince of the Sarmatian Commonwealth, which in 7th Sea is a magical sorceress alternative version of Europe. And so each of you are playing characters from an analog to a European nation. So, for example, I know someone here is from Castile, which is the analog for Spain. And two of you are from Vodace, which is the analog for Italy. Lastly, you guys are in the Sarmatian Commonwealth, which looks a whole lot like 17th century Poland and Lithuania. And Dominica, you have recently been married to the prince of the Sarmatian Commonwealth. And the storyline, the backstory to the adventure, is that the prince is rather, shall we say, radical in his beliefs. He thinks that everybody should be able to vote for the king, including women. It's a rather daring statement. I mean, he even wants farmers to vote.
I like this guy.
Currently, the only people who can vote for the king is the Sejm, which is their word for the Senate. And the Senate are very upset about the prince's recommendations, and someone in the Senate has sent assassins to kill the prince. And as it turns out, Prince Oleski, and as it turns out, when the assassins show up, the three of you are with the prince when the assassins show up. So Prince Oleski, if you can check him out in the quick start, he's a very handsome man. He has epic beard, and he's a hero in this game. And in this game, being a hero means something. So you are, surprise, surprise, starting the adventure in a room that's on fire. It should be familiar to all of you. And there are soldiers from the Sejm who are trying to burst down the door. At the end of this, and this is an action scene, and at the end, because we're just going to jump right into it, and at the end of this action scene, the soldiers are going to break down the door. And if they do, they're going to come in and you're going to have to deal with them. There's going to be a consequence of dealing with the soldiers. However, also in the room are a small group of assassins who have come to kill the prince. So if you don't deal with a small group of assassins, they're going to kill the prince. That's the second consequence. And the third consequence is the room is on fire. And if you don't do something about it by the end of the round, then something is going to, then all of you are going to take injuries or take wounds on your death spiral. So I will be playing the role of the prince. The prince is going to roll dice just like you guys. And let's get started. I'm going to start off by saying that the prince is going to be using, for his approach to deal with this scene, he is going to be using brawn and athletics. So he's going to be rolling 5 dice. So that's his approach. Brian, what is your approach for dealing with this scene?
All right. So AO is going to use finesse and weaponry. So he will be rolling 6 dice.
Awesome. Nikki,
Can I say now that I'll spend a hero point to gain because I know I'm going to need it later?
If you want, you can spend a hero point on yourself. If you do, you get 1 bonus die. But if you spend a hero point on someone else, they get 3 bonus dice.
Okay. I will spend a hero point on the prince to give him 3 bonus dice.
That's awesome. So the prince will be rolling 8 dice instead of 5. Very cool. Nikki, what is Azucena's action in this scene? What is her approach in this scene?
Finesse and weaponry.
Awesome. And Ray, what is Dominica's action or what is her approach in this scene?
She is going to use she's going to use wits and weaponry.
Awesome. So everybody roll dice, and we'll see what how many raises everybody get. Oh, does anybody want to spend hero points before we roll? Spend a hero point on someone else or on yourself.
Do we get to have the extra die because it's the first time rolling?
Yes, because this is the first time you're using a skill in the game session. Everybody gets 1 bonus die.
Okay. How many die are you rolling, Nikki?
9, because of the extra 1.
All right.
I've got 8.
So everybody rolls dice. All right. I have 1, 2. I rolled really high. 3, 4. I have 4 raises.
The dice have to add up to 10, right?
You can
be like it goes over and then you take some away.
Well, if it goes over, you just stop counting.
Okay,
so,
cool.
So once you hit, once you hit 10, you just stop counting, and
Okay.
that is a raise.
All right. I have 2.
2 raises. Nikki, how many raises do you have?
I got 4.
And Brian?
I have 3.
Okay, so the prince has 5 raises, so he's actually going to go first, or he's going to decide who goes first. The first thing the prince is going to do is he is going to use his brawn to just punch out the assassins that are trying to kill you in the room. And he's going to spend all of his raises to do it. So there's a whole bunch of guys in the room trying to kill you. In the game, there are what are called brute squads. Yeah, they're brute squads, and they're groups of unnamed characters.
I'm on the brute squad.
They're the brute squad. And actually, the prince is the brute squad in this. And brute squads have a strength rating like 5 or 10 or whatever, and you need a number of raises equal to the strength rating of the brute squad to get rid of them. If you remember the scene in The Princess Bride when Inigo Montoya just kills those 4 guys without even looking at them, I saw that and I went, I want that in my game. So the prince walks over to the guys with pistols and muskets and swords, and he just clocks them lefts and rights with big gloved meat grinding hands, and just beats the tar out of them. And that brute squad is done. They are done. And he turns around to the rest of you and he says, "We have to get out of here." Actually, he speaks with his Polish accent. He says, "We must get out of here." Because this is a game about funny accents. So he no longer has the most raises. So I think either Nikki or Brian, one of you two has the most raises. Which one is it?
I have 4.
3.
Okay, so Nikki, who goes next? And you can choose the guards who are pounding on the door outside to go next if you want.
Let's use the guards.
Okay, so you guys have hero points and I have danger points, which means I can spend points to escalate the danger in the scene. So and I have a number of points equal to the number of players in the game, including myself. So I have 4 danger points. I'm going to spend 1 of my danger points to say the guards burst through the door. And now there is a rank 10 brute squad. So you need to spend 10 raises to take care of this brute squad. So
I might be regretting doing that now.
So, Nikki, who goes next?
I'll go next,
Okay.
and I will use my 4 raises to use my finesse and my weaponry rapier to take out at least 4 of them. Whirling over and stabbing really quick.
Well, actually, you are. Let me take a look here really quick. Oh, that's right. You don't have the. You aren't the duelist that our friend Brian is. We're gonna see how his dueling skill works in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, how many raises do you want to use to take care of the brutes?
I will use. I'll just say 3 instead of all 4.
Okay, so the brute squad goes. So you walk over with your sword and your fist, and you walk over and just and make short work of 3 of the 10. So now there are 7 left, and you no longer have the most raises. Brian, you have the most raises. Who goes next?
Okay, so I'll go next. I was planning to do this to the assassins, but the guards work just as well. So since I'm using my finesse and my weaponry, I'm going over with my sword, and I'm going to get my hero point back since I'm earning a hero point when I resort to the edge of my blade to defend a noble ideal. Right?
There you go.
So I can take down 3 of the remaining guards, and I can spend my raises for that.
So, actually, the way that you're because you're a duelist, you have a unique advantage, which is you can spend 1 raise to do a number of wounds equal to your weaponry. So what's your weaponry skill?
3.
So you can spend 1 raise to take out 3 brutes.
Oh, wow. I could spend 2 and take out 6, right?
Yep.
And Nikki took out 3, so we're down to 1.
Yes.
I mean, I could spend the last raise, I suppose, to take out the 1, but
if you like. If you want my advice, I would save that last raise. Always save your last.
I was thinking about that, but yeah, okay, I'll save it. Like, I really want to be with that one. Okay, yes.
So what happens is that Assassina and Ennio both rush forward, and in this blur of swords and fists and kicks and all that other stuff, just those 2 take out 9 of the 10 guards. And because I'm generous, I'll say the last guard faints.
Flees in terror.
Flees in terror. I'm a generous GM. So, yeah, the guards are dealt with. So there's only 1 hazard or 1 consequence left in the room, and that's the fire. So, let's see. Who has raises left? I know, Brian, you have 1 raise left. Nikki has 1, and Ray, how many raises do you have? 2?
2.
And what was your approach?
My approach was wits and weaponry.
Wits and weaponry. If you can take care of the fire using your wits and your weaponry, it only costs 1 raise. So or you can use both raises to go outside your approach. Which would you like to do?
Well, I'm going to use that first. I'm going to swoon at my husband, the prince, Alexei. Oh, so brutal, so very handsome. Love it when you smash, honey. And then
I love the Madeline Kahn impersonation. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, so very
I'm down
nice.
for it.
and then afterwards, I wish that the other one had stuck around because I really wanted to use my disdain. Like, oh, I can't believe they send such incompetent fools after us. But then I just kind of roll my eyes in that general direction and use my sword. Do I have a sword? Can I have a sword?
If you like, yes.
I want a sword. I use my sword, my fine lady's sword, to slice down the nearest tapestry and use it to smother the flames.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Brian, actually, no, it's not Brian. Ray, I will give you a hero point if you agree that your husband gave you a sword as a wedding gift.
Absolutely, he did.
You can have a hero point.
Thanks.
So it's a table rule of mine whenever I say something that's true about your character, because you are the author of your character. But if I say something that's true, then I offer you a hero point as a bribe. All right, so the fire's been taken care of, the guards are taken care of. You are safe in this room, although there are more guards coming after there because the Senate has sent essentially the Sarmatian army out to kidnap the prince so they can torture him and make him recant all the things that he has said. However, if you peer out the window, the prince points out the window and he says, "Look, there is a ship out on the dock. Perhaps we can escape the city by getting to the ship."
This sounds brilliant, honey. Let's go.
You're such a good Vidace wife. Great, honey. It's great.
I know when to fight and when to go with. So, anyhow, come on, Azucena.
Awesome. So you head out, but you're gonna have to find a way to head out. You could go through the house, because you're in the royal mansion. So you could go through the royal mansion, which would probably be tricky because there's a lot of guards out there. Or you can find some other way to get out. Which way do you want to go?
Can we
I say the window.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, let's go out the window.
Yes.
It is an Errol Flynn style action movie. So when you leap out the window, you land in a conveniently placed hay bale. Because in this game, there's a rule about falling. The way falling damage works is that whenever you jump out of something, you automatically land into something soft. That's how it works. That's falling damage. So you leap out the window into conveniently placed hay bales outside, or you fall through a couple of tapestries, or slide along an awning or something like that. And you're out in the street. And of course, the prince is famous because he's the prince, and the common people love the prince because he's like, "I want you to be able to vote," and they're all like, "Yes, we want to vote. Golden liberty." So people shout, "The prince! It's the prince!" And of course, down the street, that catches the eye of some guards as they all turn. So you are in the streets. What do you want to happen next?
Well, after landing in the hay bale, I'm gonna go, ow! I found that needle. Oh.
I find an awning and I throw it around the prince like, "You need to hide yourself."
Oh, but I am.
But you are, yes. This is what you are.
Yes. Shh.
And
Come
you
on,
toss
honey,
him
let's
over
go.
your shoulder and everything. All right, so off you head down the streets. And as you are heading down the street, you're dodging in and out of places. Now, thankfully, you do have Assassina with you, and she has some rather unique advantages for sneaking around and getting in places and getting out of places. And so Assassino, what I'm going to do essentially is, because you are an ex-thief, ex-assassin who has repented her evil ways and is now, protecting people. You have the streetwise advantage. You can spend a hero point to locate a fixer, an information broker, a black market, or a similar underworld figure. Do you want to do that to find someone to help you get through the city streets without the guards showing up?
Yeah, if they can get us to the ship without being detected, I'll spend one.
Awesome. So you spend a hero point, and you duck into a tavern. And the tavern is full of pirates.
Fun.
The best kind of company. And they're singing a sea shanty about something bawdy and awful, and you all rush in, and everybody stops and looks. And then one of the captains, one of the women, she says, "Keep singing," and they start singing again. And the captain comes over to you. She looks like if what I like to do in the game is, I like to, because it's an action movie, I like to cast actors as NPCs. So she looks like Ruby Rose with a shaved head, and she's wearing a crimson vest, and has pistol, and she steps up to you and says, "Assassina, it's been a long time, huh?"
It's been a very long time, friend. We need safe passes to a ship in the harbor. Can you help us with that?
So, does anybody want to name the NPC, or should I give her a name? Okay, I will give her a name. Her name is Red Margaret. And Red Margaret says, as a matter of fact, that's my ship.
Oh, then we're very lucky, eh?
But, it's going to cost you.
How much?
And she mentions a figure. She mentions, because money, who cares about money? And she mentions a figure, and inside the wrapping over your shoulder, the prince says, "I'll pay it."
Well, I guess we got it covered, Red.
Let's get you to the ship. Screen wipe to, yeah, exactly. To all of these pirates still singing sea shanties, with a cart with 1, 2, 3, 4 barrels in the back. Boom, ba-dum, ba-dum. Singing the song. And Red Margaret is, or Red Maggie, as she's sometimes called, is in the front of the cart. And they come up across a blockade of guards. And the guards are, "Everything must be searched." And Maggie says, "All it is pickles. Would you like a pickle?" She has a pickle. And they say, "Oh, everything must be searched." And she takes out some of the money, and she says, "Are you sure?" Says, "Yes, we searched this. Go on." And the cart goes on. And you cross around a corner, and the prince pops his head out and says, "That was close." And then pops his head back in. And you're on the ship. Hey, does anybody want to name the ship, or should I give it a name?
The Red Devil? I don't know.
Red Devil!
Red Maggie.
Done!
Yay!
So the ship is a frigate, which means that it's a fighting ship, because it's a pirate ship. It's really big. It's rather big for a pirate ship. If you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, the Black Pearl is a frigate. Well, it's between a frigate and a galleon, but anyway, who cares about that kind of detail? And only nerds like me care about that kind of detail. And she flies a a black flag with a red skull and crossbones with a very fancy hat on it. And the ship sets sail, and off you go. While you're at sea, you hear more sea shanties, because that's all sailors do, is sing sea shanties. But you can also see that they're all reading and they're all they're learning knots, they're learning things, and they're learning math, because the way that you aim cannons is with calculus, and so they're all learning how to do all the things with the cannons and everything. Now, the question is, where do you go? That's a tough question. I mean, you are sailing away from danger. Where are you sailing to? I have a couple of suggestions.
We're all ears for suggestions.
Yes, please. I was thinking about Vodachi, right?
Yeah.
My hometown, my home country.
You could go back to Vodache to try to get support there.
Right. Yeah.
You can also sail for, because you're with pirates, you could sail for Labuka, which is an island of pirates, and try to recruit pirates to help you retake the capital.
I like that. More pirates.
You can never have too many pirates.
No.
I was gonna say, it seems easier to get pirates involved than to actually start some sort of like, European or similar European warfare.
Well, the thing
with the hired mercenaries.
Well, the thing about the Republic of Pirates, which is like an unofficial nation in Thea, is that they also believe in democracy. They vote for everything on their ships. So they vote for who the captain's going to be. They vote on which ships they raid. They vote on, on all these other things. So as you're talking with the crew, you realize that the crew is actually very sympathetic to the goal of Golden Liberty, of giving everybody the vote. They're like, voting works for us,
Yeah. I'm walking around the ship, and Dominica's walking around the ship and making allies and working the room and singing little sea shanties with everybody.
Yeah, fortunately, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
That's what I was going to say. And has been just learning sea shanties. That math thing, that calculus is a little complex for somebody with like 2 wits. So all he's learning is sea shanties.
So the pirates are actually very sympathetic to your cause, and they encourage you to go to Labuka to get other captains to join your cause, because in the pirate nations the Republic of Pirates, every ship is considered a nation, because everybody there votes and they have one leader, and so if you get more pirates to join your cause, they'd be grateful, or they would at least they're at least sympathetic to your cause, and that means that they would probably ask for less money, because pirates don't do anything without money. So off you go to Labuka, which is out in the Atabayan Sea, which is our version of the Caribbean. So it takes you a couple of weeks to get out there, and when you get to Labuka, you've heard stories of the great pirate city of Labuka, and the stories do not do it justice. Mainly because you heard that it's a wretched hive of scum and villainy and all that kind of stuff. And actually, the city is rather peaceful. There isn't a fight on any street corner and drunken groups of pirates looking for fights and all that kind of stuff. It's actually rather orderly when you get there. The city looks clean. There are people out cleaning the streets. All that kind of stuff. It's really surprising how well kept Labuka is. And when you arrive, Red Maggie says, that tavern over there is called the Captain's Quarters. And that's where and you have to be a captain to go in, or have a captain invite you in. And that's where you want to go to get captains to help you.
Well, can we just jump in with what our character would say? Or?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. Oh, thank you so very much, Red Maggie. You've been nothing but so very gracious and generous to us. I'm turning Irish. I don't know why. You've been so very gracious, Yeah.
It's
I don't
hard
know.
not to fall in the Irish accent.
Would it be? Is it possible that you could take us to captain's quarters? Could you invite us?
I'll take you to the captain's.
Thank you.
For now she does has a pirate accent.
Ah, fantastic.
Oh, simple it is to speak like a pirate.
Arr.
So you head over to the captain's quarters, and it is this huge tavern. It has a main floor. It has rooms in the upper floors. There's a shanty man or a shanty singing a song, more shanties. You have learned so many sea shanties in the weeks that you've been sailing. Or as the Born on the Black Flag novel says, he was only a week at sea, and already he knew why sailors always sang about going home. So you head in, and you notice that there are all these different tables set up, and each of them appears to be a different captain and their crew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys make wits rolls.
Uh-oh.
So it's okay.
Oh, Ennio, it's fine. You're pretty. You're pretty. It's okay.
So go ahead and make wits and add any skill you like that you feel is appropriate, because you're going to be using your raises to tell me what kind of captains are in the room.
Can I ask a question real quick here?
Sure.
So if would this be an appropriate time to cast read, or to not cast,
Yes.
I guess, but to use read?
Yes, you can.
Okay. And how do I go about that?
So using fate magic, because you're a fate witch,
Right.
means that you can see the lines of fate that connect different people. And it means you can tell who owes who money, who has an emotional connection with someone else, who has conflict with somebody else, and all those kinds of things. So you can see the connections between people.
Okay.
And you can use your raises to tell me about the connections to people.
Okay. All right. Do I need to use a hero point or anything? Or this is
Sorcery, so yes, you need to use a hero point.
Okay. And then
So I'll do the hero point.
Oh, cool.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So then so we're doing a wits roll, and then we can add a skill too. Can I add a skill plus the read, or do I just read?
Just go ahead. What we'll do is that you can use your raises to tell me what kind of connections these people have.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So you're going to be using wits, and what skill is everybody going to be using? Brian, which skill are you going to add to your wits?
Notice.
Notice? Okay. And Nikki, what skill are you going to use?
Empathy.
Oh, cool. Okay. So this is the first time you're using those skills, so be sure to add a bonus die. And does anybody want to spend any hero points? You know what? Red Maggie, she likes Ennio. She thinks he's a big, dumb, handsome man. So she's going to spend one of her hero points to give you 3 bonus dice.
Cool.
Oh, nice. Nikki, how many are you rolling right now?
I rolled 5. I can count, I promise.
Oh, that's fine. 5.
By the way,
Can I spend a hero point on Nikki?
yes, you can.
Okay.
By the way, Nikki, did you notice that Assassina has camaraderie as one of her advantages?
Mm-hmm.
Which means when you spend a hero point on someone, they get 4 bonus dice instead of 3.
Awesome. That will come in handy later.
I'm waiting for the big villain to show up.
Oh, jeez.
When you're all ready, tell me how many raises you have.
This has been the best roll of my life. Okay, I have 5 raises out of 7 dice.
Oh, wow.
3 zeros.
Wow.
I know, 3 zeros, an 8, a 4, an 8, and a 2. This is the best ever.
Awesome. So 5 raises. Ray, you have 3, and Nikki has 4. Okay, So what we're going to do is we're going to go around the table instead of like saying who goes next. We could do that if you guys want, or we can just go around the table and everybody gets to say something about one of the pirate captains in the room. Every raise that you spend is another thing about someone in the room. So let me open up a doc here to make notes. Okay. All right. And Brian, you have the most raises, so you go first. You can say the first thing about any captain in the room.
Okay. I noticed there's a captain in the corner whose crew is clamoring for some action. They want to see some battle.
Oh, okay. Do you want to say anything about the captain in particular, like what the captain's name is or anything like that?
We'll call him what is it? We'll call him Sharkbait. Captain
Sharkbait.
Ooh, ah, ah. Oh.
Oh dear. It's an ironic name. Because
sharks.
Yeah, he fell into water in shark infested waters and got out.
Yeah, that would be great.
He wears shark skin boots.
Yes, exactly.
All right, that's awesome. All right, let's just go around the table. Nikki,
first mate Chum.
His first name, yes, whoever the first mate is, because he goes through them like Spinal Tap goes through drummers.
Oh no!
Right.
They explode even. How does it happen at sea?
First mate is always called Chum. Come here, Chum. All right, Nikki, what's the next thing that's true about the captains and their crew in this room?
So over on the other part of the room, you see a captain, since we're keeping with this theme, Captain Nemo. Is very sympathetic to, I guess, losing loved ones or losing something that they love, which would go well with the prince.
Oh, okay. Captain No One. That's what Nemo means. It means no one.
Oh.
Awesome. And he's very sympathetic. He or she, because we haven't determined a gender yet. He or she is very sympathetic to losing loved ones or something they love. Awesome. Ray, tell me what Dominica sees or anything at all.
Dominica is very curious about a table that she sees. It appears to be a table of women pirates.
Okay.
Exclusively led by a very, very tiny, diminutive woman with like bright silver hair. And they all appear to be just kind of meditating. They're just very calm. And this captain and the crew are very dedicated to seeing the depth of things, like the sea. They're interested in what's underneath and what's hidden. So they spend a lot of time meditating and contemplating.
They're meditative, contemplative pirates.
Yes. Well, they'll still kill you. But then, you know.
Contemplatively.
Yes, yeah.
They're like, yum.
Yeah, yum. Gonna die.
They'll still kill you. They're just gonna meditate on it first.
Yeah, and after they'll think about the deeper meaning of them killing you and taking your stuff.
Right. Premeditated and post-meditated murder.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Awesome. So, Brian, do you want to add anything to any of the existing pirate tables, or do you want to add a new one?
Okay. Just because I have to, because I'm that nerd, I noticed that when they're talking about it, Captain Nemo is referring to their ship as the Nautilus.
Yep.
I have to. I'm compelled.
Indeed. I'm just looking at my shelf because I have the Alan Moore's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He did a series about Captain Nemo's daughter.
Oh, there we go.
That are really, really, really fantastic. If you get a chance to read Alan Moore's Nemo trilogy, the comics are really, really great. Okay, so the Nautilus. All right, next, Nikki. Anything else you want to add to the existing captains, or?
I'm gonna add a new captain just because, again, nerds have to. There's a very hyper crew in the room talking about drinking and just fighting, but they're really good at heart, and the captain's name is Monkey D. Luffy. He's wearing a straw hat, and he has a various ragtag crew, and one happens to look like a reindeer.
Where Straw Hat Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Damn anime fans. Okay.
I was waiting. I'm like, somebody's gonna call her out for One Piece. Somebody, come on.
And of course, Captain Luffy has a straw hat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're called the Straw Hat Pirates.
Straw Hat Pirates. Awesome. Ray, do you want to add anything to the existing pirates, or create a new one?
I will create a new one. There is a table. I see a table where it appears if there's reindeers, then I'm like, all right, then there is a captain who is basically looks like they're kind of a cross between a humanoid, but also kind of like a squid. Like they have tentacles for hair. It's very fascinating to Dominica.
So clearly cursed by some kind of sea creature.
Yeah. So that's going on, and then the crew seems to be just they just seem pretty normal. Like, as much as their captain is very notable, they just seem to be pretty normal. And that captain's name is Defifix Lorify. And I don't think I gave a name for the other captain, which was Gale Storm.
Gale Storm. That's
Right.
a nice name. So you're going to have to put in the chat how to spell this captain's name.
I will do that. I will do that. Oh, I'm not allowed to do that. Oh, wait, no, I was trying to share my screen. Wrong one. Okay, here we go. So, whoops.
That's just
Okay.
as confusing to pronounce as it spell.
Google cannot find that name, so
It's completely unique.
yes, it is.
Woohoo!
It is completely unique.
Yeah, just like the odd-looking captain.
Way to go, Ray. You're doing so much better than the rest of us, and no copyright infringement.
Well, fortunately, Captain Nemo is in public domain. However,
Hey.
Mr. Straw Hat over there. Awesome. How many races does everybody have left?
I have 3 left.
3?
I have none. Wait,
Okay.
I have 1.
So what you can do, you guys can continue spending your raises, or you can convert your raises into hero points.
Cool. I'll
Is
do
it a
that.
1-to-1?
I'll convert
For
it.
today, we're going to do it 1 for 1 because
Okay.
I'm being lenient. Normally it's 2 for 1, but we're playing a one shot, so it's fine.
Can I use my last raise to to jump up and perform a sea shanty to be distracting?
Or
I don't know
do
why I'd want to do that. I just want to sing a sea shanty. I don't know why.
you don't have to spend a raise to do that. You just jump up and say a sea shanty.
All
You're
right.
the author of your character. You only spend raises to say things are true about other people
Okay. All right.
because you're the author of your character. You get to do what you want.
Okay, then I'm just gonna wait for a minute. and see.
Okay.
Considering the voice you've been using for your character, I think it's like, oh, sweet mystery of life, at last I found you. Anyway.
I'm tired.
Awesome. Okay, so with all these captains in the room, it is time for you to consider how to convince them to join your cause. And each captain, I'm looking at each of these captains, and I'm thinking about different ways different motivations that they have for you wanting to join, for them wanting to join your cause. So, which captain do you want to approach first? We have Sharkbait. He's fun. Captain Nobody. Gale Storm, Straw Hat, and Daffafix Lorifi. Lorifi? Did I say that right?
Defifix Lorifi.
Defifix. Okay, so my accent was on the wrong syllable.
You could call him Daffy.
Daffy. I like Daffy. She's Daffy.
Cool. Oh,
He has a terrible list. Okay.
Well,
okay, I got it.
so do we decide together who we want to go see?
Yeah, you guys talk about it amongst yourselves and decide who you want to go see. I'm going to take a really quick break. I'm going to go refill my cup, and I will be. You guys can talk amongst yourselves while I'm gone, and I'll be right back. I'm just going to fill my cup with water. I'll be right back.
Watch her.
Ray, I can totally not even hear you.
Okay, let me move up to stage whisper. So yeah, who do we want to see? So Gale Storm is like,
first.
huh?
I say we talk to Sharkbait first. Let's just work our way around the room.
I like
Shark
it.
bait.
Okay, and can y'all remind me about, because I really am tired. I'm tired. That's not a lie.
Where's the Madeline Kahn thing? I'm trying so hard to keep a straight face because you do such a good Madeline Kahn. Anyway.
Oh, thank you. I love her so much. But okay, so remind me, Sharkbait and his crew, what were they like again?
So his first mate's named Chum that he goes through
Chum.
constantly,
Oh,
like
yeah.
Spinal Tap and Drummers.
Okay, right. Okay.
Seems to be accident prone.
All right. Okay.
I'm sympathetic. If you can see in the background, I'm sympathetic to drummers, so I get the Spinal Tap joke.
Right.
All right.
Let's turn this up to an 11.
What's wrong with being sexy?
Nothing.
This is what happens when a bunch of nerds just start like, you can make up the story, you should go along. Awesome, let's do this.
Yep.
Let's pull from all the material.
Yes.
Just taking it all.
Beautiful.
So which captain do you want to approach first?
We think we're going to go to Sharkbait first.
It seems to me that Sharkbait would be the most stereotypical of the pirate captains here.
Yarr, darn tootin'.
And he says, "Oi, are you here to sign up for me crew? I'm always looking for more crew. Ain't that right, chum?" "Oh, yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir."
Oh yes, this definitely, certainly looks like a very brave and strong crew. Darn it! No, I can't not speak in an Irish accent. Very, very brave, strong crew you have here.
"I thank ye. We have the best crew in all the 7 seas."
All right, I really do want to do read because I would like to be able to see if is this appropriate time to do
You
that,
can.
or-
So what happens is whenever you use a fate magic, you get a lash.
Yes,
You've
what
used
are
it
these?
once,
Okay.
so you can use it again. That's 2 lashes. And every time you use fate magic, you roll a d10. And if you roll equal to the number of lashes or the number of lashes you get, you actually get a physical lash. You get an injury because you're pulling the strands of fate, and they snap and strike you in a physical way. So be careful, because every time you get a physical lash, it's a dramatic wound.
Okay.
So, but you can do it.
So if I cast it here, would I be able to use it for all of the captains, or would each one cost a lash?
Each one costs a lash.
And I have to roll against it. So if I rolled a 4 or higher,
A 2 or less,
a 2 or less. Oh,
because
then
you've used it twice.
okay. Yeah, I would like to do that. I'm gonna check it out and see what that's all about. I would like,
Okay.
because I want to see what the alliances are in the room and whether these are people who are going to really help us or maybe use us for their own.
So spend a hero point,
Okay, spending a hero point.
and I will roll for your fate magic to
Okay.
see if you get a lash.
Okay.
Roll. Nope. You don't get a lash.
Okay.
So you can see that he's actually his connection with the other captains is that it appears that he owes all of them money.
So he's beholden.
Yeah. He's in debt to the other captains.
Okay. So maybe we can see if he can work off his debt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Aye, what do you want? Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, I was just thinking they all donated a sailor for him to be the next chum. Anyway, can I? Let's see. I would probably like to use like panache and what is it? What would be the other skill? Maybe empathy. To try to get to try to tell, hey, to try to get him to be empathetic with the cause of of our princeling here, and think of all the money that he could make, if he endears himself to the leader of a country.
Oh, good call. Okay, go ahead and make a roll. You can make a panache plus empathy roll. Sounds like an appropriate roll. You can suggest something else if you like, of course.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
All right. So every raise, you get to tell me the details of the conversation, including whether he agrees or not.
Okay. So let's see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4. Okay. So I tell him about the situation that's going on in whatever it was. What was the name of the country?
Sarmatian
Anyway,
Commonwealth.
Yes, with the prince, and that we have the prince with us, and that there's a lot of money to be made by liberating the country from its evil senate.
Aye. Well, it sounds like you need arms for hire, he says.
Aye.
But if making friends with the prince of a nation sounds like a good idea to me, especially if he's paying.
Oh, I'm sure he would be paying.
Yes,
and
yes.
then you would also be in his debt. Like he would also be in your debt. You could then ask favors for him. Trade routes, things like that.
I liking this idea. I am. So, how do you want to use your last 3 raises?
So, do you think we? And I guess I'll tell them we'll convince some of the other pirates to join us. And that.
You're gonna have to get the others to. You're gonna have to convince the others on your own, laddie.
All right, but if we do, you're in with us.
Oh, I am.
There we go.
Awesome. You want to bank your remaining raises?
I do.
Okay, cool. All right. Who are you going to approach next?
Okay, who was next on our? I think Nemo was next on our kind of rounding the room.
Nemo is next.
Captain No One. Oh, there they are.
Yar?
Oh,
Oh,
that
cool.
looks beautiful.
Yeah, the art's really good. If you've never read the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen books, this is really good.
Awesome.
So, Nemo, no one. I'm really bad at a Middle Eastern accent, so I'm not even going to try it because I don't want to offend anybody with my terrible accent. That deserves the respect that they just deserve more respect than I'm able to give. So, Captain Nemo is just going to speak with a very deep voice. So, who's going to talk to Captain Nemo?
I'll talk to
Captain
Nemo.
No One.
I will talk to Captain No One.
So, isn't it true that you served on Captain No One's ship? I'll offer you a hero point.
Yeah, sure.
So you know that Nemo is very reluctant to get involved in politics.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Why don't you make me a wits roll? Same thing. You can use wits plus whatever. Tell me what skill you want to use with that.
Probably convince.
Okay.
I've got one.
You got one?
One.
Oh. I can
You
spend a
spend a
hero
hero-
point and help
you
you.
wanna
I'll spend a hero point and help her out.
All right, Brian, you spend a hero point and you roll 3 more dice.
All right.
You can spend hero points after you roll in this game, by the way, because you're a big damn hero and you don't.
So now I have 3.
Oh, that's better. So how do you want to spend your raises? You can tell me how the conversation goes.
Okay, so I'm going to spend them on talking with Captain Nemo, and I'm going to say that I left on good terms because he knows that I left to help out for a noble cause.
Okay, that's 1 raise. I left on good terms.
Okay, I left on good terms, and another raise to. I'm going to say he owes me for saving his life one day.
Awesome. That's 2 raises.
Where is it going?
And yeah, I think the 2. I'm hoping the 2 will work.
Well, you can spend a raise to say that Nemo agrees to come with us.
Okay, and so I'll spend the 3rd one to say that due to all of that, he's going to agree to join us.
I will bring the Nautilus to bear. But this means we are even, Asusina.
Tis true. Tis true. We are even, Captain.
Can I read him?
Sure.
All right. I'm just
Cost
going
you
to
a
try
hero
reading
point.
all of them. I know. I might need some help here, y'all. But I feel like it's important to read these guys and see what the connections are.
I can give you a hero point if you want.
Oh, give me one next time if that's okay.
Okay.
How's that? Okay, cool.
Okay.
So,
Now
all
you
right.
spend. So now we're going to roll a d10. So now we're up to 3. If I roll a 3 or less on the d10, you get a lash.
Oh, I see. Oh.
This will be
Here we
fun.
go. Here's the d10. I rolled a 10.
Well, you are rolling better rolls than me today, so that's good.
I have the GM's curse. I always roll well in the player's favor, and I always roll bad in my favor.
Well, I thank you for that.
All right. So, what is it that what you tell me what what his strands are to the other captains? Is it conflict strand? Does he have conflict with them? Are they in debt to him, or is he in debt to them? Does he have an emotional bond with one of them? What is the specific detail?
Let's see. I think that Nemo he's got an emotional.
Is it a romantic bond?
He's got a romantic bond with Daffy.
With Daffy?
Yes, he's got a romantic bond with Daffy.
Boy, that's weird. But
Yes!
okay, not judging. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I've seen enough anime to know where that goes.
Wow.
It all began over their fight, whether it was rabbit season or duck season, and before you knew it, they were the best of friends.
Oh,
There you go.
So there was so before Daffy became the way that Daffy is now, there was a romance that was budding, and then something happened to Daffy, and now it's very awkward. Because Daffy still has the same feelings, but Nemo is squint.
Dun dun
The
dun.
appearance.
Okay. So, who is the next captain you are all going to talk to? You've talked to Sharkbait and Nemo. You have Gale Storm, Straw Hat, and Daffy next.
But I do want to say he still secretly likes her. Or
Okay.
them. Still secretly wants them, but is afraid of how it would appear if it's a vanity.
Yeah, Nemo and Okay, who's next?
Are we gonna stay in the order, or do we want to deviate?
Whichever ones you want to do.
So
next.
then it would be Gale, right?
Gale Storm, all woman crew, meditating, seeing the depths of things.
Before and after they slit your throat.
We're contemplative murderers.
Yes.
Contemplative cutthroats.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, there's a deeper meaning to all this.
So, who wants to approach Gale Storm?
I will.
Okay.
So
why don't you make a wits roll for me?
okay.
Or what do you want to? How do you want to approach this? Because you could use wits or panache. You could use any approach you want.
I think wits is a good good one.
Wits is seeing things, and panache is convincing people of things.
Okay, let's go with panache. Okay, but I get much more dice with wits.
It's up to you, but that defines your approach. So if
Right.
you use wits, you can only tell me things that you see.
Right. Okay, let's do panache.
Okay.
Panache and convince. Is that?
Are you going to do a reading on her?
Yeah, I do want to read her as well.
Spend a hero point, and I'm going to roll a
Take
d10.
mine.
Thank you. I need it.
The number is now 5.
Oh yeah. Ooh,
Here we go. I get to roll
We're
before
gonna
you
find out
do.
what a lash looks like.
I rolled a 3.
Dun dun dun.
So Dominica is you see her looking at the captain, and suddenly there's a scar that like a whip had struck her across her cheek, and it oozes blood.
Oh.
And it's incredibly painful. It's supernaturally painful. It's like a whip with shards of molten fire strikes across your cheek. And everybody in the tavern stops. And somebody mumbles, "Sorte strega."
She's a witch.
So
He's a witch.
as this happens, this is not the first time Domenica has faced a lash.
No, but here's the problem: is that when you get a lash, it distracts from your fate magic, so you can't get a reading.
Oh.
But now all of your lashes set to 0.
Okay, so next one I should be able to utilize, most likely. Okay.
So the women at the table, they all stand up in unison. And Gale Storm says, "Were you looking at me with your Vodace eyes?"
Of course, I was looking at you with my Vodace eyes. It is
I'm not
only,
sure. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
well, I'm hoping that you would feel that it is wise for me to be trying to find out as much as I can as I'm trying to gain allies that I want to make sure that they would be true and honest.
So I'm going to spend a danger point, and I'm going to escalate the danger in this scene. And Gale Storm stands on her chair, and she says, "If any of you aid this woman in any way, you can consider me an enemy."
Oh, sorry.
Did you say a sorry or sorry?
I said sorry.
Oh,
No.
okay.
to my party. Okay.
And then she sits back down, and all of her women sit down with her.
Salty lady. So
Daffy and Straw Hat, they get up and they walk out of the tavern.
okay, is it still my turn? Am I?
It is still your turn. Well, it's still the player's turn. You guys can do whatever you want. We haven't started an action scene, so it doesn't matter what you guys do. I mean, it matters what you do, but you're not rolling dice. Would anyone want to try to stop the others from leaving, or try to convince Gale otherwise?
I will stop the others from leaving.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I'll try. I have 3 successes left that I banked earlier, so I will try to convince her otherwise, and let Nikki stop them from leaving.
Well, thank you.
I figure that will be harder work.
So Nikki, Asusina actually has background with these people because she's from, she has this sort of background. Do you want to try to use that background to your advantage to try to convince the others from leaving?
Yes.
Okay. What is your approach? How are you going to do that? Remember, your approach is a trait and a skill.
Okay. I'm going to use panache and convince.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you that convincing. Well, let me do this. Let me roll for Gale Storm. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. 1. Oh, that's fortunate. Okay, so she only got 2 raises. So in order to convince each of the captains from leaving, you're going to have to spend 2 raises for each captain.
Okay.
So if you don't get how many captains are left? I think 2. Oh well, there's two captains leaving. Straw Hat and Daffy are leaving.
I'll spend a hero point to help you out, Nikki.
Oh, so roll 3 more dice.
Yay. This is math.
Did you say this is meh?
Math.
Math. I'm angry at numbers.
So I got 3.
So you can use your 3 raises. You can spend 2 of them to convince one of the captains from leaving. Which is it going to be, Straw Hat or Daffy? Monkey de la Fée or Tentacles for Hair?
Oh, both are awesome. I'm going to go with Straw Hat.
Okay. So how do you do that? You successfully do it, but tell me how you successfully do it.
So appealing to Monkey D. Luffy's heroic nature, I explain the the plight of the prince, and that the prince has a lot of meat in his storage
Oh, jeez.
because monkey's all about the food.
Monkey is all about the food, like the cat, all about the
Mhm.
noms.
All about the noms, like, and I'm sure, Captain Straw Hat, that the prince would be willing to throw a banquet for you and all of your crew. All the food you can eat, all the meat you can eat in one sitting.
Well,
In one sitting, I love this. Fine print disclaimer.
yes. Well, having never seen Monkey D. Luffy in person, I'll have to assume that Monkey D. Luffy is very happy about that, and even does the. I just have to assume.
His crew would not be happy with him, but he would be fine.
So, however, say it for me again.
Defifix
Defifix Lorifi.
Lorifi.
Larafi. Okay. I need more
Happy.
indicators with the vowels. But she, however, with her Medusa-like hair, is unconvinced, and she leaves.
So Brian, is it your go or?
Right. So I was going to spend my bank. They were from Panache and Empathy. First, I convinced. What was her name? The captain that's mad at you.
Gale Storm.
Oh, Gale Storm.
Gale Storm. First, I convinced Gale Storm that you know how the Vadachi women are. They're hot-tempered and hot-blooded, and sometimes they let their mouths get ahead of them. And she didn't mean anything by it. She's my sister. She's not that bad. Right.
So Gale Storm has calmed down a little.
Right.
But
then I convinced her that she's under a lot of stress because her husband is the prince of this particular country, and what all has been going on to unseat him because he wants to bring democracy to the people there. And that she has her mind on that and is desperate for help.
Can Domenica interject at this point too? Can we go back and forth, or is it
sure.
he finishes? Okay, and so then I want to use an honest misunderstanding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead and read out loud what that does.
So I use 1 hero point to edit, redact, reinterpret words said by me or another hero into the highest compliment.
Yep.
So
what he meant to say was,
or what I meant. Yeah.
So how would you like to edit or redact or otherwise change your phrasing?
So I'm standing next to Ennio, and I'm looking at Gale, and I kind of get down to, she's sitting down, and I kind of squat down, so I'm not standing over her, but I'm kind of next to her, like kind of not in her face, but right, kind of eye to eye a little bit, and I say, please, I apologize for any misunderstanding. I would never try something. I would never try to understand or read any person that I did not think was very strong and worthy. When I try to read you, it's not because I think less of you, but because I think more of you. I see how strong you are, what a beautiful crew you have, and I meant no disrespect. I apologize very deeply.
So Gale Storm is still suspicious because she does not like Fate Witches. However, she says, I will not declare anyone here an enemy, but I will not help you.
Understood. You're a strong woman. I respect.
Dun dun dun.
If you change your mind, come talk to us.
And with my last point here, I'm going to tell her, we fear that once the Senate has struck democracy from the lips of its people, they will be spreading their ways across the world, and it won't be long before they find this island as well.
Yeah.
Put that in there too. Add a little pressure.
Yeah. Get him, brother. Get him, brother.
That's funny. So you have your captains. You have 2 captains to assist you. Sharkbait and Captain Nemo.
And Monkey.
Oh,
Yeah, Luffy.
and Monkey.
Straw
You have
Hat.
3 captains. You have 3 captains. Awesome. So now it's time to head back. So Anthony, how much time do we have left? 45 minutes? Okay. Because I like leaving things on a cliffhanger. And this seems like a really good place to leave off on a cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.
Is it okay to stop here, or do you want to carry on for a little bit longer?
I would love to see if we could catch up to Daffy and try to convince her if we could, like, is that
Tentacles for hair.
possible?
Sure. So she has her own. So let's do that, and then we'll leave off with that. So Daffy has her own island, and it is it's a little bit north of here, and we're gonna cut to Red Maggie, and Red Maggie is like shaking her head, and she's saying, "This is bad luck. This is bad luck going to Daffy's Island. It's full of coral reefs and mermaids and all sorts of nastiness. I hear she has a shell horn and she can call sea monsters from the bottom of the waves."
So sounds like we'll be good ally to have.
Aye, but she's not very friendly. Her heart was broken, you know.
I think she's just sad.
She's just lonely.
She's just sad.
I lean over to Dominica and I was like, I know who broke her heart. We
Oh, do you?
haven't-
You want to
we
spend it?
haven't
You want to spend a hero point to tell me who broke her heart?
Sure.
Who broke her heart?
Thought it was Captain Nemo because we talked about it earlier.
Oh, okay. So, you come close to the island, and it looks like if there was a stereotypical monster island, right, with tall trees that kind of wave because giant things are moving in the background and all of that. If there was a
in the shape of a skull.
yeah, yeah, it's like a big mountain with a skull in it. If there was a monster island, this looks like it. And as you approach, I'm going to spend a danger point. It's my 3rd danger point. I have 1 left. And the ship, you hear underneath the waves, you hear this awful groaning. And the pirates all like immediately start moving because they know that sound. It's the sound of coral reef grating on the hull of the ship. And from below, you hear this call of, "The hull's breached! The hull's breached!" And they all start rushing down with pumps and buckets and everything else as they're all trying and planks and tar as they're trying to patch the hole. And as they're doing that, somebody shouts up, "We're caught! We can't move! We're caught on the coral!" And as they say that, Daffy's ship comes around the side of the island, moving to cross the T. And what that means is if you have one ship going this way and you have another ship going this way, it makes a T, right? And because ships have cannons on either side, but not in front, it means that this ship can fire on this one, but this ship can't fire on this one. And so as your ship is stuck like this, her ship is coming up like this. So she can fire on you at will. And as you see, the her Jolly Roger, her distinct pirate flag is a skull with snakes for hair. And she's up at the prow, at the very tip of the ship, and she's kind of sitting there with her hands on her underneath her chin, as she's leaning up on the prow of the ship, and she says, "You can surrender now. What do you all want to do?"
Well,
Red Maggie says, "I'm not surrendering my ship to that woman."
can I use pull here
Yes, you can.
on Daffy?
Mm-hmm.
I want to pull her over to our ship.
Okay. So what she's doing, spend a hero point.
Okay, last one.
Use your magic. I'm gonna roll a d10.
Okay.
Pray that I don't roll a 1.
Please don't roll a 1.
I rolled a 4.
That's good.
So
right?
what she does is she sees the fate strand between Daffy and someone on the ship. And in this case, it's Red Maggie. Right? And you reach forward and grab that strand and pull.
Mm-hmm.
And grabbing strands like that is incredibly dangerous, and it creates slices on your hands.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is that a lash or is that?
It's not a
just-
lash.
Okay,
Right?
it's just what happens.
It's just what happens.
Okay.
I'm not too worried about wounds and stuff because we're kind of playing light. But you pull her, and the rest of you see her fly off the prow of the ship and land on the deck of your ship.
Remind me not to piss her off later.
I was like, oh, not gonna like this.
Well, they're gonna fire on us, but now they won't because we've got their captain.
Don't you know fate witches can kill you just by looking at you?
But don't worry, honey. I like you. It's okay.
So she's on the deck of the ship, and she gets up and draws her sword and says something awful about fate witches, which is not appropriate for a PG-13 movie. Even though we get one F-bomb, it's not appropriate for this PG-13 movie.
I mean, I would totally try to use "we're not so different" here.
But she's not a villain.
Oh, she's not. She's a hero. Okay.
Yeah, she's a hero.
Then I will not do that.
So she Astasina, she knows you. I'm going to offer you a hero point to say that she knows you, right?
Sure, we can do that.
Okay. And she walks right up to you, and she says, "What's the meaning of this?" Actually, she speaks with a Greek accent. She's speaking with a Greek accent because she's from Numenari. She's Numenari, and she says, "What is the point? What is the meaning of this?"
Well, Captain Daffy, we have questions that we want to ask of you. And this was the only way we could do it, was come to your island. And now we make a mess of things. We ran the ship. You tried to make us surrender. We just want to talk.
The Republic of Pirates has specific rules. If it's on the water, it's fair game.
'Tis true, 'tis true.
Psst, those rules apply to her too.
And you're on the water as well, so all is fair in love and war.
Oh,
Don't you
gotta
mention-
bring love into this.
Awesome.
Yeah, and she says, "Don't you mention love to me," as her snakes in her hair hiss and spit.
Ooh. And I mentioned love for a reason, Captain Duffy, because I know a certain someone that probably would like to talk to you at some point. If you're willing to parlay.
I will never speak to him again after what he
Nick's
did.
being kind of stupid. Enio would jump in.
Actually,
Tell her
it's-
she-
Go ahead,
come
Brian.
with
I'm
us.
sorry.
Tell her he's coming with us. Tell her he's coming with us.
Actually, didn't we say Nemo's a woman?
Oh yes, she's coming with us.
Yeah. Says, I will never speak to that woman again.
You don't have to speak with your mouth. You can use language of love.
You be quiet, fate witch, she says.
And can I say, can they be moray eels?
Sure, they can be whatever we want them to be.
That's a moray.
I was thinking the
Oh,
same
that
thing.
no. That's too far. That's too far.
1d4 psychic damage for the dad joke.
I regret nothing.
She said, "I heard your offer of rescuing the Sarmatian prince and his throne. What's in it for me?"
What would you like to be in it for?
I have everything I need. I have my island, I have my ship, I have my crew. I sail the sea. I have freedom. What else would I need?
Well, you see, that's the thing. If these Senate people win, then you may not have this freedom. They will try to divide everything up and own everything, and they will take everything from everyone. They will take all the freedom.
Sarmatia is a landlocked country. They have no influence over me. I can sail away from them.
You can't sail your island away from them. Or are you going to find another island?
Oh, can't I?
This moment.
Oh, the pirate's like, oh, her island moves. Oh. So what is it you want to offer me? Because this is the offer I'll make to you. Let me go back to my ship and I'll let you sail away from my island. Otherwise, I'll just jump into the deep and order my crew to open fire and send you down, down, down to the devil Jonah himself.
What about if I owe you a favor? Because you know I have a certain set of skills that could handle things for you in places that you can't get to.
And she says, well, I know that you're an honorable woman and you keep your word. Do you give me your word that you will owe me a favor?
Aye.
And that I can call upon it at any time?
Aye.
That's good enough for me. Can your fate witch send me back to my ship, or am I going to have to swim?
Domasina, the nice captain has agreed to join us. Can you send her back to her ship now?
No.
I don't know that the magic works in reverse.
Yeah, there is no push.
Right. There's only
push
pull.
effect. There's only pull.
So I'll say, even though this woman speaks very ill of me without knowing maybe what I'm really about, we're not different so much. She is changed by magic, so am I. However, I do not have that within my power, and it's a beautiful day for swim.
Very well. So she leaps off the ship and she dives into the water and swims like a fish right back to her own ship. Her crew cat throws over a line and they pull her up the side of the ship. And she holds on with one hand, watching the Fate Witch with her cautious eyes. And that sounds like a good place to stop.
Way to make an enemy, Ray.
Yeah, well, it's not my fault I
Twice.
am what I am. I was born
Twice.
that way.
So, did you all have fun?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That was super cute. I liked it.
It's we just kind of scratched the surface of how the whole system works and everything, but generally I don't whatever game I run, I really only use the mechanics that are on the player's character sheets because those are the only ones that matter. And if you notice as a GM, the game is actually really simple because you have the players roll dice and you say, "Okay, what happens next?" And then you just say yes. And then when you want to say no or you want to cause something to happen, you spend a danger point. Or you bribe a player with a hero point. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole system.
It's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So many applications for like behavior-based therapy.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
for you, hero point.
So a friend of mine, Jared Sorensen, does a talk, a game design talk called Game Design is Mind Control. And in it, he talks about he has 3 rules when he designs games, which is what is your game about, which is the theme of the game. How does your game do that, which are the mechanics that reinforce the theme. And then finally is what behaviors does your game reward and discourage. And in this game in particular, the lure of hero points, because hero points are so powerful, is that if you look at the character sheet, characters have quirks that they can do to earn hero points. Things like, Brian, you actually used one. You're like, I get in the way of danger, to support a noble ideal. I get a hero point.
Mhm.
And then I use hero points to get players to move in certain directions and say, hey, I will give you a hero point if you say yes to this. And that moves players in certain directions too. And that's what I use them for.
Like it.
And also, I really like I will tell you exactly what I had planned for this session. I had exactly one thing, which was getting out of the room.
Nice.
It was the only thing I had planned. And then I went, okay, so they're going to spend raises and they're going to tell me where they want to go. And then I'm just going to say yes. And we'll just keep going in the directions that they want to go. Do you want to go back to Vidace or do you want to talk to the Republic of Pirates? Do you want to, who are the Captain Pirates in this room? You guys did all the heavy lifting and I just said yes and just kept going and kept going. The old improv rule of say, there's a GM rule that's a lot of fun, which is say yes or roll dice. So, the players say, I want to do this. And you say, yes, that happens. Go do the thing. Or if you don't say no, you say roll dice.
Yep.
And then the players can choose about where things go.
Yeah, I liked the active storytelling piece of this.
So I've even run D&D with that rule, where the players like, okay, I'm gonna make a skill roll, and you roll, and then instead of you telling the player what happens next, you ask the player, okay, what happens next? Does your character succeed or fail? Because sometimes failure is more interesting. Sometimes, not all the time. And then players, you'll be surprised at when you offer the players the opportunity to fail, how often they'll take it.
Yeah.
Because if you give them the opportunity to fail, it means that they're authoring the failure, so they can write the failure in a specific way that's under their control. And once they catch that, they will start failing all the time.
I love that. It's like so
Mhm.
great for growth mindset, and for just like realizing failure sometimes leads to the most interesting
Yeah.
stories.
If you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Ghostbusters, the protagonists of those movies fail every role. They fail everything. And that's a bit of hyperbole because they succeed at the end, right? But the amount of times that they fail but move the plot forward with their failure is indicative of how storytelling works, which is how the whole success failure mechanic I find is actually sabotages storytelling, because you succeed, and it's all, storytelling is highs and lows. And with games that are focused entirely on succeeding, then it's just highs all the time and you never get the lows. So that's my little post game thing.
My favorite thing about Raiders of the Lost Ark is that, the plot just unfolds and Indy is sort of a hapless observer. He
gets swept up in it, right?
Yeah, he's not actually the hero. He's not changing anything. He's just sort of along for this amazing adventure of a ride.
Yep. And games where, because it blew my mind when I first bumped into, because like my friend Jared, who had talked about the 3 rules about what does your game do and all that, he was the one who first introduced me to the idea of rolling dice doesn't indicate success or failure. Rolling dice determines who gets to say what happens next. Because in his game Octane, which is a post-apocalyptic game where the apocalypse happens and the only things that are left are everything that's cool. So in the game, it's not like Mad Max where everything is wasted, right? But instead, the bomb goes off or whatever it is, and you have Elvis and muscle cars and Samuel L. Jackson and in like everything that's cool is left. And in that game, when you roll dice, if you roll high, the player says what happens next, and if you roll low, the GM says what happens next. And so it has nothing to do with success or failure at all. It's just who has the narrative rights.
Nice. So it's a real collaborative story.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's not success-based, that means that players feel free to write their characters into really difficult situations or write failure into their character because they're in charge of it and they get to say what goes next.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yay!
Check that out.
And one of the reasons I wanted to run 7th Sea is or any of those games is because I wanted you to have a look at that, because I think it's a really useful tool for what you're trying to do. And I think that I'm going to give you an example, and this example may have been brought up by somebody else, but here in Phoenix, before COVID and everything, one of my players is a young girl who's on the autism spectrum, and I was running Star Wars, and she was playing a young Jedi character, and she later on she told me this. Her mom told me the story that she was on the bus and she was being bullied by a couple other kids. And she was very confused and she didn't know how to react. And she thought, how would my character act? And she was able to confront the bullies because of it. Because she was role-playing her character. And to me, I got choked up and I was like, that's so cool. And that was one of the first things that I was thinking about when Tony came to me and said, hey, we want to do this thing. And I was like, I got to tell you the story.
Yeah.
Because I think that what you guys are doing is really, really super cool. And I think that role-playing, I want you guys to have as many different role-playing tools as possible to utilize this the best way you can. That's one of the reasons I wanted to run 7th Sea, is so you guys could get a look at that.
Yeah.
That your example is on the so I have a group and they do D&D based stuff, but they have a worksheet that they take home as sort of homework. That wouldn't be therapy without homework, at least the way I end up doing therapy. But one of the things the therapy asks, the homework questions asks them to do is to consider a situation that their character would have handled differently this week, and what they would have done, and how they think that would have been better or worse than what ended up happening.
Yeah, it's really neat. There's another role playing. It's a very small role playing game, and I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called. It's called Urge Overkill or something like that. And it's a questionnaire that you answer before the game, and you answer it out of character. And the questions are things like, have you ever looted a grave? Have you ever killed someone because they owned something you wanted? Have you ever robbed something? Have you ever lied to someone to get something from them? And then you play the role-playing game. And then after the role-playing game, you answer the same quiz in character. Have you ever looted a corpse? Have you ever lied to someone to get something that you wanted? And you just answer the same questions. And that's the role-playing game. And I've done that when I've run, because people are like, John, run D&D, and I'm like, great, answer this quiz before we start playing.
Afterwards, you're like, my character is a horrible person.
I'm scared of them.
I'm scared of my character. So one of the things also in 7th is that you can use any skill to deal with a brute squad, including perform. So my partner Jessica, she has a character who has a very high perform skill, and when she's confronted by brute squads, she sings to them and makes them cry and break down in an emotional breakdown. That's how she defeats brute squads, is by singing to them.
Love it.
So
yeah, I like this, that daring action is greatly rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, there are specific rules for heroic and non-heroic actions. So in the game, when you reach the end of the death spiral, your character becomes helpless. That doesn't mean they're dead. It means that they are no longer able to contribute to the scene because they're in great pain, or they've been captured, or something like that. There's some narrative effect that's preventing them from happening. So when you defeat characters, like when you defeat the brute squads, you'll notice that it was very much abstract. It was like flashing blades and boots and gloves, and the brute squad is defeated, right? Because the brute squad that's what happens, is you defeat a brute squad. Killing in this game causes a corruption point. And the only way to kill someone is you walk up to them while they're helpless, and you spend a raise and say, I kill them. It's the only way to kill anyone in this game. And if you do, you get a corruption point. And I immediately roll a d10. And if I roll equal to or under your current corruption points, your character becomes a villain, and they become the GM's character. Because heroes don't murder. Contrary-wise, if you become helpless, a villain can approach your character, spend a danger point, and say, I kill him, or I kill her. Which is the only way to die in this game, is if a villain kills you. And when that happens, as soon as the GM spends the danger point, it's a consequence that happens at the end of the round, and anyone can stop it from happening by either spending a hero point or spending the rest of their raises.
Okay.
And every NPC in the game is considered helpless for that rule. So a villain can walk into the captain's quarters and start spending danger points and killing characters. And heroes have to jump in the way and stop it from happening.
Because they're heroes.
That's what heroes do.
That's what they do.
Because everybody is Captain America.
And Neo gets an advantage for that.
Yes. Yeah, and however, there's also a mechanic for redeeming villains, for turning villains into heroes.
Oh, that's good. Because there's a mechanic for turning heroes into villains, so it's good that it came.
Yep, there's a mechanic for turning villains into heroes, which my players have. My partner Jessica, She's like, there has to be a mechanic for that. And I'm like, yes, of course there is.
Yes,
And
yes.
as a matter of fact, I created an advantage for her that makes it easier. So there's an advantage in the game that you can take, like your we're not so different or your camaraderie. There's an advantage you can take that makes it easier for you to redeem villains into heroes.
Pretty cool.
Awesome. Do you guys have any more any other questions about the game?
Oh no. But I was thinking about when you were talking about the heroes don't kill people. I immediately, apparently, everybody's Firefly fans enough to know the big damn heroes quote. The scene where he's like, because I'm a good man, and he stabs him, and he's like, I'm okay. I immediately thought of that one. Where he's like, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah. And so people have asked me, they said, does Inigo Montoya get a corruption point for killing Count Rugen at the end of The Princess Bride? And the answer is yes, he gets a corruption point. But he doesn't turn into a villain. And you can burn corruption points. You can redeem you can get corruption points off of your character sheet. He's like, I'm done with this thing. I don't know what to do. Oh, you'd make a great Dread Pirate Roberts.
Dread Pirate Roberts, right.
There you go.
It's awesome. Any other questions you guys got? Anything you want to say about the game before we call it quits?
I really enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun.
Yay!
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, very
I'm
rich
glad.
tapestry of stuff going on.
Yeah, the world is really, really, really deep. There's a lot going on with the world from the different, because you guys didn't see the England analog, which is Avalon, which is essentially Queen Elizabeth as King Arthur. So that's that, and then there's also Montaigne, which has the Emperor of, which is pre-revolution. It's Scarlet Pimpernel, France. And then there's Usura, which has the Tsar Revolution, and then there's Eisen, which is the big scary Van Helsing Germany, swashbuckling horror, is what's going on in Eisen. So there's a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the introduction to this world.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
you guys were great players. Thank you for you made it very easy to run the game.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Dr.
Take care,
Dave.
folks.
All right.
Peace.